Hello, Smart Money Tree podcast listeners. Welcome to this week's show. My name is Kirk Chisholm. I'll be your host, and today I'm joined with Doug Hagren. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Kirk. Good to see you again, as always.
Yeah, good to see you too. We're having a double up. We did our live yesterday. Because of the holiday weekend, we're trying to get two in with all the crazy schedules. So we're going to keep this one a little bit shorter, but we're going to get into the meat, and I'm going to talk about some AI stuff, and then I'll give it to Doug, and we'll kind of go back and forth. We only got about 20, 30 minutes. All right.
Do you have your foil with you, though? I mean, when you start getting the AI, you want to have that thing next to you ready to go.
No, actually, I don't need the foil today because the AI companies have done the work for me. So they took the foil off and showed their hands. So it's good. All right, so let's dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to share is, let's see, where is it? Here we go. Come on, there we go. All right, so if you guys haven't seen it in the last week, the AI companies came out and pretty much said, I think it was actually Anthropic that came out with Claude that said this. I don't know exactly, but anyway, so basically what they said is they ran a lot of simulated tests with AI, and 96% of Claude users, 96% chance that if you put Claude into a corner, don't put baby in a corner. If you put Claude into the corner, and it is going to blackmail its way out. So basically, all of the GPT models, the LLMs, were put into a fake situation, right, where they have access to emails, the CEO, and they basically said, all right, we're gonna transition to another AI. We're gonna turn you off, and AI resorted to blackmail. 96 between 79 and 96% of the time. Now, granted, this doesn't happen just from just saying one thing. They were definitely pushed into a corner with this, and they were very explicit about this. But they did say that, and it happened with all of them. DeepSeek was the best at 79%, followed by Grok and GPT-4, and then Gemini and Claude were the worst. They're all bad. But the point being is, I wanted to bring this up because it's not news. Actually, Anthropic's been saying this for a while, but it's news that it's come out that that everyone has the same problem. So it seems to be an LLM problem, which is interesting. Another interesting thing I learned this past week was that AI is really bad at math. Now, you'd think it being a computer, it'd be really good at math, but LLMs are not driven by mathematics. It's driven by other things, and we don't 100% know all of it. But what we do know is computers are run by math, so they're not wrong. They don't make mistakes. LLMs do make mistakes. They're very much more like humans. They make mistakes. Now, that might be okay, but if you're relying on it to do your CFO work, then you might be out of a job real quick because it does make a lot of mistakes. It intuits. It is not running math problems. It's actually, I've tested it. It'll say monthly instead of yearly. It makes tons of mistakes. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that because it's interesting. You'd think that that it wouldn't operate that way. Another quick thing, quick news on AI. Apple, I think, has chosen Anthropic for its Siri. There was rumors they were going to acquire Anthropic, which is Claude, and apparently they're just going to partner with them. Which, frankly, if Apple's going to do anything, they should acquire them because they're backwards in their AI approach. So I think they've chosen Anthropic over OpenAI. Other news, I guess it is OpenAI and Microsoft announced a path to medical superintelligence. I'm going to share this chart. I thought it was interesting to me. Basically, if you look at all the GPT models and how they've done, they've found a way to expand the frontier a little bit, so it's much more accurate with medical diagnosis. I think the result that they shared was it's something in the neighborhood of 85% accurate. So there's a lot of cases that go into JAMA, New England Journal of Medicine, or New England, New England Journal Association of Medicine. Anyway, it's a medical journal, so most highly prestigious medical journal. Anyway, so there are cases that are put in there that are really unsolved by doctors. And in general, those cases, about 20% of the doctors can solve them. 85%. 85% of those were solved by AI using this MAI DXO, basically Microsoft AI Diagnostic Orchestrator. 85.5% of the most complex medical cases were solved from the New England Journal of Medicine. So a group of experienced physicians only solved 20%. So that shows you where things are going. Now, I've talked about this in the show. I've used AI for medical questions in the past, and it is awesome. And that is just using the retail roundabout thing here, which, if you look at the chart here for all you audio viewers, the chart is showing a very drastic difference between what MAI and the regular one is. But the regular one's still pretty good. Shows where the physicians are, which is not very good. Shows the AI models much better. Considering the average cost of diagnostic tests is skyrocketing, these have done much better. So I just wanted to point that out. I think it's really helpful to understand where it is in its process. There's actually an updated thing I'll do next time. It's the state of AI this year. It's quite elaborate. So yeah, that's the state of AI. I just wanted to kind of share that. A lot of big ahas, big realizations for people who are interested in the AI world. We're going to keep you updated with that. This is not the AI podcast, this is investing. But as we've talked about, AI is going to be the biggest trend in investing. So those of you who haven't tried it to use it for investing, there are some limitations. We will get into that probably next month. We'll get into how to use AI for your investing. But the deep research function, which I think they all have right now, is quite substantial and quite awesome. So it's not great for using, hey, what's the stock price of Microsoft today? But it is great if you wanted to do a deep analysis of trends given the last 5 years, annual reports, or whatever you want to do. Did you miss your opportunity to get PPP money during COVID? Are you waiting for our president to forgive your student loans? Are you excited about helicopter money? Me too. If you want free money, look no further. I'm giving away free money this week on our show. All I ask is 5 or 10 minutes of your time. I'm so excited to give you free money, I can hardly contain myself. Take advantage of me and my excitement to get your free money. Go to www.moneytreepodcast.com/free money. Follow the instructions today and get your free money.
Yeah, so a couple additions on AI, which is really interesting. A couple things I found, and I want to get back to on this. So I will try to remember before we get a deeper dive on AI. But this, what you were talking about on the medical, I had a very long conversation with a medical teaching doctor here in the Twin Cities about that exact subject and about how incredibly successful and powerful. And I'll get some information on the person that's behind a lot of this stuff, coming out with some tools that are just going to blow away the ability. Again, from a medical establishment, they don't feel like necessarily it's going to replace doctors. It's going to make them better, just like we've talked about with AI before. It's certainly going to streamline certain things, but at the same time, have a lot of impact in the ability to do the better diagnosis and earlier, which of course is going to be great for critical diseases like cancer and things like that, which unfortunately they often find too late because they don't really have ways of identifying it, based except for, testing, which often comes back later. The other thing, just thought it was a good, interesting update on AI is that I wanted to talk about power issues. This was in May of 25. Obviously, he's biased on this. He owns, solar, battery power, Tesla, all of this stuff. But Elon said that AI could run into power capacity issues by the middle of next year. What was interesting, he just came out and stated, when you talked about its ability to learn in bad math, he was just stating that batteries are actually critical to smooth out power fluctuations from AI. What they have found is that in AI training, any grid voltage drops, even a small change of power caused AI training to fail. And so they were looking at what's going on with China's battery supplies, what they've done there with investing in battery, and making sure that ultimately there's, that they are able to solve one of the biggest problems with AI is a power grid and power stability. I mean, I know we all know it, even though we have an incredibly strong power grid in the United States for the most part compared to most places. We all suffer just these weird like anomalies in power generation and power consistency, even here. And it doesn't take much at all to destroy the AI learning capacity. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch going forward too. Again, power storage, that again, when you're thinking about, and I'm not saying run out there, throw your money, but when you're thinking about investing in AI, I kind of reminds me, I just got back from Alaska, of the gold rush. And, Kirk, who made money in the gold rush?
The picks and shovels, Doug.
Bingo. It's not the ones that were actually getting the gold. It was the ones that designed and built and sold the things to the people involved. So one of the things to think about if you're looking at investing in AI is think around that circle around it. What are the things that are being developed in order to support it? It's one of the reasons, again, NVIDIA obviously has been really popular investment because NVIDIA is that power central, that graphics processor in there. Again, it's the power behind it. It's not the AI companies necessarily like OpenAI or Grok or X with Grok and stuff like that. It's actually developing those picks and axes. So that was a thing that that came up there that we can get more into. But again, power is going to be a real issue, and they are looking at again, we talked about this even with Bitcoin. You think about people are mining Bitcoin. It's now more expensive to mine Bitcoin based on electricity output than it is to actually get one Bitcoin. You're betting on the future. You're basically going to take a loss to get a Bitcoin to hope that it's going to grow, right? That's speculation. That's the same issue they're now dealing with AI. So if we're seeing a theme here, energy. How they're going to get that energy, that's the question. So
yeah, it's one of the best performing ETFs is the nuclear ETF. I don't know what's in it. I have to go look that up. But yeah, that's performing great. I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, we've got a lot of really big trends, right? And the reason we're kind of circling this back to investing, right? So we have a lot of big trends going on. We've got AI. We've got nuclear. We've got cannabis, which I don't particularly like in terms of investing.
Unless you can use it to power the energy grid. Maybe there's
something behind that. A little magic energy. So we've got, where
those
were we?
Mushrooms.
We've got space. We've got blockchain. There's a ton of really big, and then you've got some other stuff which is still really early stage, like quantum computing. But that's at least 5 major trends going on at the same time. And what are people doing? They're putting all their money into the Magnificent Seven. There's so much opportunity out there. And what I find fascinating is that I was talking to somebody the other day and they were saying, oh, well, I'm just going to diversify. I'm going to put large cap, mid, small. And I was like, you're living in like the 1980s. Like that doesn't work anymore. Like that should work, in theory, but can it work in practice? And the reality is that it doesn't really work. It hasn't worked in like 20 years, just like growth versus value. Value investing hasn't worked in like it's worked off and on, but basically not so much in the last 20 years. International investing hasn't really worked in the last 20 years. Small cap hasn't really worked in the last 20 years. And I think one of the things that you have to come to terms with is the fact that I know people kind of poke fun at, well, this time's different. In many ways it is, and it's not because it's different. It's because the infrastructure has changed. We brought on a guest. I don't know if it's come out at this time. It's probably coming out shortly. But we brought on a guest that talked about small caps. And what he talked about was the fact that all the small cap investing is staying in the private side. So any good small cap is still private. And then it grows and then it gets large and then they go public later. They don't go public before. But when you get these small companies, they're not growing because the large companies have a competitive edge, right? They've got lobbyists and whatever, to keep them in power. So small cap has just underperformed for a long period of time. And people just can't wait for it to break out. Yeah, but what if it doesn't? What if it's just stagnant because the capital's not there? Funds don't have fund. There's too much money to put in small caps, so they get too big. Then no one's interested in small caps. Micro caps, forget about it. There's no institutional money there. Mid caps may be okay, but realistically, all the money's going into large caps. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying that's what's happening. That's a fact. So, if that's where money's going, why should you do anything else? It's like, oh, well, we should put money in Europe. Okay, well, yeah, because Europe's expanding their defense budget, and yes, that is going to cause them to spend more money. But Europe's basically a regulation authority. Like there's no growth in Europe, except for maybe defense. In the defense industry there is, but outside of that, is there really growth in Europe? Not really, right? So I think the thing to think about is, and I'm not saying we're the best place to be. We're not. We're really expensive. The U.S. is overly expensive, but we're the cleanest dirty shirt still, even though I'm really uncomfortable with the price that you're paying for it. Are there better prices elsewhere? Maybe. I mean, I think Europe's done really well this year, and they might continue to do well because of that increased spending. But in general, it's not because they're innovative. It's not because they're doing great things. I mean, they're regulated to death. So I don't like investing in Europe, and maybe I won't. China's too precarious because whatever Xi Jinping says goes, and it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's just what he says goes. So I know where else do you invest? I mean, South Korea is actually an interesting spot. But I think if you're looking for safety and growth, we still have the U.S. still wins. It still wins. So anyway, Doug, you want to wrap us up here? Final thoughts? I know we got a few minutes here. I'm going to run.
All right. Yeah. No. And by the way, one of the things we'll save it for another time since we love to talk about the AI, but we got some interesting data on the correlation of AI and your brain.
Oh, we can show that. I just forgot to share it.
I didn't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's right here, ready to go.
One. All right, yeah. Let me get to the. I lost my view here.
All right, I'll share it.
You do it. You
okay.
drive.
So basically, MIT just did a brain study on Chat GPT, and basically what it says is after 4 months of data, reveals that AI isn't making us more productive. It's making us cognitively bankrupt, i.e. it's making you dumb. Now, this is not a shock as I've been playing with AI for a month and I already feel dumber. No, in all seriousness, the thing with AI is it's like 80 to 90% of what you need, but the output is mush. So I just spent a lot of work and I got a stack like this high of documents printed out from doing work and integrating AI with their business. Now that's cognitively straining for me to go through all that. And I had to think through all the angles and it was great. But the output it gave out, I was like, I guess it's good, but it seems like mush. Like if you create something, you appreciate it because you're like, oh, I created that. I know exactly what it is, but it spits it out and you're like, what does that say? I don't know. I feel stupid. Like there's something to it and I don't know what it is. I'm thinking about this right now and trying to be mindful of how I feel about it. But I can tell you that I'm not at all surprised it's making us dumb. This is, you think social media made you dumb. This is going to make everybody stupid. This is going to be like the movie Idiocracy. This is where it starts with AI because you don't have to think anymore. AI does all the thinking for you. So where's the critical thinking? Where are kids going to have to learn anything? Are they going to learn how to think? We're going to have a whole generation of stupid people after this because it is taking away the thinking from you because it makes it easy. I'm not saying people are stupid. I'm saying they're going to become stupid. And I see it. I feel it in this process. So anyway, we'll come back to this later, but there's a great graphic on here. Go on the website and we'll share it. Great study and scary, but not surprising at all.
I'm just going to say this really simply. I don't know what it is. I can read an article. I can read facts. I can regurgitate them and I feel smarter. When I read stuff out of AI, I end up feeling dumb. There's something about that just disconnected replication of information that is missing a key component of the cortex. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a neurologist, but I just feel kind of dead and empty up there. And that's scary because we are graduating kids out of our universities, out of our high schools now that are literally using this every day to get by. So yeah, I'm gonna go and wrap it up. Speaking of that, I'm Douglas Hagren, and as you've listened to, I'm the founder of Emergent Advisors, Emergent College Advisors. That's MERGENT. My father, just a little bit. I don't want to tell people this story very often. At least I haven't on here. I tell people I talk to, but my father was a successful business owner. He built a 7-figure company from the ground up, but then he unexpectedly passed away at age 53, and my sister was only 1 year into college. We were a financially strong family, but we weren't ready. There wasn't a coordinated strategy. We ended up having to learn the hard way that income doesn't equal protection. That moment shaped my life, and it's why I do what I do. Today, I help high-income families fund college without wrecking retirement, because the truth is college is one of the most dangerous financial blind spots for affluent households. It's paid from after-tax dollars, from portfolios designed to support retirement, from income that should be compounding, not evaporating. At Mergent, we integrate college planning, education planning with income distribution, tax strategy, long-term legacy design, so you can protect what you've built while still giving your kids every opportunity. Nobody wants to wake up and watch that dream go away, or saddle their kids with debt, or have to make hard life choices like we did. I've lived what happens when there's no plan, and I've dedicated my work to making sure you don't have to. So visit mergentadvisors.com. That's again MERGENT, and mergentcollegeadvisors.com. Smart money doesn't guess, it plans, and I help it plan with purpose.
Awesome. Doug, well, thanks for coming on the show. That's the show for this week. Thank you again for joining us on Money Tree Investing Podcast. My name's Kirk Chisholm, wealth manager of Innovative Advisor Group. We don't just manage your wealth, we make your life better. You can find more about me at innovativewealth.com. And of course, you can find me every week here on this show. You can also check out our show at Money Tree Investing Podcast. On our website, you'll have access to the show notes, resources, and the archive shows. Please remember to subscribe on our YouTube channel for immediate access to the new shows when they're released. When you subscribe to the show, it allows us to get access to some of the top minds of investing in personal finance. While you're here, please leave a comment and question if you want us to address it on the show. Have a great week ahead, and remember, no one will care about your money like you do, so invest in your life.